All right, y'all, part 2 on Taylor Swift and Super Bowl, my 2 favorite subjects. All right. But the stadium event that I've told you about, we can see this play out in multiple ways with the Super Bowl. All right. And the bowl ties us to the bow. And I do expect the game to happen, but I think there's going to be maybe some things happening during the game or whatever, because these things tie. The past 3 Super Bowls tie into the 29/11 events, and it tells a story. And then I've broken down pretty much the first start of it, the second Super Bowl. We'll get into it at some point, and then this Super Bowl we're waiting on. But all these things will tell a story and connection points from the first time machine to the second time machine to the third time machine. So part 1, 2, and 3 of the BTTF. All right, that's the Back to the Future perfect trilogy where Biff is based on Trump and steals the almanac, time machine, all those things, and he takes the country into his hands, and nations burn, and all those other things. Okay, folks, so breaking these things down. The stadium event, we're on a watch, right? And baseball is America's pastime and those things. So I would expect maybe we might have like a bomb threat in the Super Bowl and get that stampede, or Usher's thing might come down on them, or whoever, right? The stage collapse or whatever for that next stage on the world stage. We have the stage collapse, those types of things. We could see this, but America's pastime, all the stadiums are open. That's a great open air event for another 29/11 and things. So we can see different things playing out to where you had the 29/11 event doing the big airports. Then you have it to where it does the small airports. And then you have it to where it did this types of things where you're being watched by the AI in way, shape, or form, and then it's going to use the AI in another form, and that's where the mark of the beast comes in as far as the beast man, because the beast man's already taken the RNA changer and all these other things. So when things start rising up and they got to go get their coat, their thing updated, or to show that they've had this, or that thing's been actually turned into a bio warfare scheme, and however they work it, right? And then the quarantine happens and all that other stuff, and then you got to show that you've had this, that, and the other, and then it will mark who's the alien civilization who doesn't have to take the stuff and all those other things, because like me and my family, we weren't affected by that. All right, we didn't get any of that stuff. So this can be where light's changing. And we'll get into the placebo and the world stage on this video, I guess, since we're talking about the lights changing. But the time clock, the seamstress or whatever, we have opening day and all these things all coming together for the Oakland A's. And okay, so and that's the alley giant. That's the giants that are in the earth before and after the flood. So, and that flood is tied to the currency, and that's tied to the bricks and the Swift currencies and all these things. It's going to take out the dollar and whatever else it's playing. All right. So, the placebo, the placebo, the beast out of the sea, and all these little things. So, we all know about the placebo. They tell us about the testing of placebos and non-placebos, and that's how they work the trials and such. So, like what you see on TV when Elvis got his first one, when Trump got his on TV, all these things, right? Those are placebo, just like water shots or whatever, air shots, not air shots, but you know what I mean. So they're taking these water shots or IVs or whatever, right? Sugar water. And that might be like the first one, okay? Or the second one, or third one, hopefully, or fourth one, or whatever, right? But what they tell us about DNA, RNA, changing lights, or whatever, right? This can be real shit, or it can be dark speak, all right? I believe the real is based on the dark, or the dark is based on the real, and those type, they work kind of together. And since we're going into a time where Christ is being gathered through the AI, that's man, and it's gathering up all this information, I assume that the AI is testing all these different things and putting all the real information into a real thing or whatever, and that's where you're going to get like truth consolidated and lies consolidated, where you'll have the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain coming together. And then that once that's kind of separated, then we can see how that would come together into one man and one brain and one left side, one right side, one negative, one positive, all that for the new Jesus coming and the millennial kingdom and all these things coming. And then it resets man and starts going out from there at that one point again. Okay. So, and we need to understand that we're just light here, light beings operating these mortal liquid machines ran on electrical light that always exists. Okay. And when you go into the spiritual and leave the body, you will understand what I'm speaking of. Okay. So it's not until you step out of your body and look back at yourself and see your friends over there. It's a changer, buddy. Okay. And the rulers of darkness keep these things from us because they want to give you the things that build up your flesh and break down your body in a matter of ways. Okay. But they also want to break down your flesh in a way and offer you something of a spiritual falsehood. Okay. That's where your doctors and such, psychiatrists and all this shit come in. Otherwise, the rulers of darkness have made the things that are important, spiritual health, mainly illegal, or they brainwash it into being this, that, and the other, and it's not this, that, and the other. Okay, this is just a machine to operate, to give the spirit joy. Okay. And there's a time and a season for everything. So, the placebo effect, the world stage, all these things can be set in motion. The rulers of the darkness, the rulers of the world stage, the people who rule the world, they know these things. They have things preset, and they know that the star showed in 2020 for the sign of his coming. And we know that this year had the Christmas star. And we know the sky clock is very unique from 2020 to 2025 time frame. And it's one time in however many thousands of years that this happens. So with Pluto in the sky and coming in and out and Uranus and all this other stuff, okay? This can be affecting the lights, and all the planets in the sky can be affecting all the lights inside of men. And depending where your light is depending where you're grounded at, depending what truth you've gathered up, because Jesus said, search for me in truth, and he lives within all of us. So we have to go through and activate the Jesus chakra in a matter of speaking, and we have to have intercourse in our mind and our spirit to give birth to Jesus in a manner of speaking. And the way this world operates, they keep these things away from you, or they scare you away from these things that give birth for the left side or the right side to come into power or to go into submission. Okay, for the 7 days, the 7 chakras to rise up man's spine and give them the knowledge within. Okay, so the lights changing in the sky, the lights changing in the world, all these things are there to show us a time and a season and a new heaven and earth breaking open and an old heaven and earth dying. And as this happens, as this is controlled by the lights in the sky, because we're just projections of these lights, and these lights operate through us, and the people who know these lights operate through this operate the lights, to control the lights within us so they can control the beast. Okay? So it's a pyramid scheme. And the old pyramids that are all around the world was probably the old original internet and stuff, to where it gave them that probably a physical world of what we imagine of as the internet, to where they could really use portals or cut through time or cut through the light or whatever and go from one space to another. And we're going to do that in virtual reality in a new way, because we're going to the old heaven, but it's the new heaven in a new way, but it's the old heaven. Okay? So that's where we're going into that one time and all these different things, folks. Okay? And Genesis tells us this whole thing, but we've been blinded by the brainwashing not to see it. And it's right there in front of you in clear English. And it's a spiritual book. And it's for all time. So it's a book of truth, a book of history, but it's brought to you as a lie. Okay? So simple. There are a few that find it. And the people will be saying, where's the sign of his coming? And they're all going to be scared shitless because they're going to see this, that, and the other. They're going to think this, that, and the other. They're going to think they're left behind. All this shit's coming. And it's going to cause the mass pandemonium. And it's going to cause that beast within to come out because they don't have control of the 7 chakras. They don't know the 7 days, the 7 lights, the rainbow that runs this world. So, hopefully, I'm sure there might be multiple stacks. Maybe the first one was a pure placebo. The second, you might get a little tampering. The third, fourth, or whatever. Maybe there's some real shit going on there. But hopefully it's just a mind, but mind over matter. So when they start feeding the world stage, it's going to go along with the lights in the sky. So it's all just a self-feeding mechanism. And you bring about what you think about. You are what you eat. So you're eating these cows that aren't taken care of. They have cancer, this, that, or whatever, and life is in the blood. You're eating steaks with blood in it. All this different shit that we need to start thinking about maybe. And everything's contaminated now, so it all needs to go to a rest. So we all need to go to the here or whatever and go to that petri dish, that petri dish. Instead of that culture out there, we got to go to this culture in here. And start with a new mycorrhiza. But the petri dish, the culture out there, the petrodollar, all that shit, it's been contaminated. And it's got black mold and stuff going on there. And that's that frozen tundra. And that frozen is tied to the, it's the 3 storylines that are told backwards first off, but that frozen is part of that Scandinavia that can't scan. Shit's froze up. No money. Big freeze. Everything's might be free. And then, or it might be free, but everything's going on a ration. That could be where we see something playing a little twist. Either way, so the lights changing in the sky interfere with our bodies. And the world stage knows this, so they have the world stage set up. This is where you have everybody went and got the placebo, but they're being told this, that, and the other. It's a self-feeding mechanism, and the lights in the sky take out everybody. Can you imagine them coming in and saying, hey, Pluto's coming in, get ready, 25% of you are going to all fucking die. Can you imagine that? Big mass pandemonium, and they'd be like, why haven't y'all figured this out yet? They know about the stars, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And then they teach you a false solar system. Okay? So, once you understand that we're in an enclosed Earth, all right, and the stars rotate around us. We have wandering stars called planets that come in and out, and you can't go land on them. They're lights and all this other stuff. You can't even get to them. The stars disappear once you get to a certain elevation in space. Okay? Go and watch the videos. Go and listen to the astronauts. They say the same thing. I'm just repeating information that I picked up the past 46 years of life. We'll end it here. Hopefully it's placebo and it's mind over matter, and you just gotta past that sear, but they're searing the foreheads now, so it's,